What is the weight of an MBA in India and an MBA elsewhere in a different country?
This question is akin to something like this. An MBA in this school versus an MBA in some other school.
Okay.
It's like that. It has got nothing to do with doing MBA in one country and doing MBA in some other country. It has got nothing to do with the boundaries of a country. It has got everything to do with the school.
Okay.
Is the school which is offering MBA program capable of providing all the paraphernalia, all the required inputs, all the exposure to industry, all the exposure to real life training, then that is the right school. I am sure you would appreciate there are many schools who very carefully program this 2-year MBA.
MBA.
They very carefully program it. In your program, if you are taking care of the international exposure, if you are taking care of the industry exposure even at a local level, because ultimately you are supposed to work, suppose you study here in India, you will work in Indian organizations more often.
Right.
Even if it is a multinational company, you will be posted very often in India. You will have to have a grasp of the Indian scenario. There is a cultural context to business as well. If you are well versed and exposed within the cultural norms of Indian industry,
Yeah.
and you know the business norms as well, then you will be the right fit. The multinational companies would prefer you to somebody else who is alien to this kind of culture. A student is supposed to be exposed to that scenario, and if placed in that kind of scenario, how would one react? Now, somebody who is studying in India, is there any validity or is there any great point if he or she is supposed to imagine himself as COO of a company which is based in Seattle, a $200 million dollar decision to be taken? How one would read the case and take the decision? It's very difficult.
Precisely.
You need the exposure, but then you need more of Indian cases.
Yes.
You got to realize that you will work more in this country.
You need to put yourself in others' shoes and then realize.
Yes. And also you need to work in this country.
Right.
There is a lot of opportunity in this country, and all of us will have to prove our mettle in this country, and then only we'll get international placements. That is, after you work for about 10-15 years, then you get a posting abroad, then you work in a different cultural context, then you will be trained for that cultural context. For example, I am a student. I am going through a case study which involves several $1 million of decisions to be taken. If I keep on reading those cases and I try to prepare myself for that situation, and ultimately when I pass out my MBA, I work in an Indian company or a multinational company in India, to what advantage that is? It is of no advantage.
Yes.
Only when I prove my mettle in my first job, in my second job, in my third job, I gather some kind of credibility for myself. And then I would like to prove my mettle in some other context.
It caters to your experience.
Exactly. It caters to your experience. Decision making or ability to take decisions will happen only after some time.
Right.
And the bigger the decision, it calls for a lot of other inputs, greater exposure, ability to handle a lot of other people. Would you like to first handle people here before you venture out to handle some people in other
Other parts.
parts of the continent? I think the first one is better.